Fresh reports claim a joint U.S. Saudi operation in Iraq may have wiped out key Iranian advisors, delivering another blow to Tehran's regional network. According to reports, around 20 Iranian advisors, including IRGC personnel, were killed during the latest strikes in Iraq. Washington says the strikes targeted facilities used by Iran-backed militias to launch missiles and drones across the region. The reported operation has intensified fears that the confrontation between Washington and Tehran is entering a far more dangerous phase. With both sides escalating military action, Iraq is once again emerging as a key flashpoint in the wider regional conflict. The New York Times reports that nearly 20 Iranian advisors were killed in the coordinated strikes carried out in Iraq. Those reportedly killed included members of Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps along with military technical advisors. A U.S. official said the locations were deliberately selected because Iranian advisors were operating from those facilities. Washington says the objective was to cripple the missile and drone infrastructure of Iran-backed militias. The U.S. Saudi Arabia operation reportedly marks one of the heaviest losses suffered by Iranian advisors in Iraq in recent years. Mourners gathered in Baghdad as the fallen Popular Mobilization Forces members were laid to rest after the latest deadly airstrikes. Coffins draped in Iraqi and Iranian flags were carried through emotional funeral processions across the capital. A prominent Shiite cleric condemned the strikes, calling them a cowardly and heinous act against the Popular Mobilization Forces. PMF leaders vowed retaliation, warning that the joint U.S. Saudi operation would not go unanswered. CNN reports that Khalid bin Salman met Vice President J.D. Vance to discuss the rapidly escalating regional situation. The high-level meeting followed almost immediately after the joint military operation inside Iraq. Sources say both leaders reviewed the strikes and Saudi Arabia's response to recent attacks on its infrastructure. The Saudi defense minister also conveyed a message from Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman during the talks. According to CNN, Saudi officials believe Iran will continue relying on proxy groups to expand the conflict. Saudi Arabia has warned that any future attacks on civilian infrastructure will be met with immediate retaliation. Despite the strikes, Riyadh insists it is still seeking to avoid a broader regional conflict. Saudi officials maintain that de-escalation remains the kingdom's preferred path forward. A senior advisor to Supreme Leader Mojtaba Khamenei denounced the operation in the strongest terms. Mohammed Mokbar described the strikes as a violation of Iraq's sovereignty and international law. He argued that Iraq's security institutions are an important part of the broader regional deterrence network. Mokbar warned that those responsible would ultimately pay the price for escalating the conflict. The Iraqi Prime Minister called an emergency meeting to review the country's security situation. Officials are evaluating the growing regional risks following the latest military escalation. The operation has renewed concerns that Iraq could once again become the central battleground in the U.S. Iran confrontation. Authorities remain on alert amid fears of possible retaliatory attacks by Iran-backed militias. A fresh conflict now appears to be looming in the Middle East, this time involving Iran-backed Iraqi militias and Saudi Arabia. On July 29th, Iraqi Prime Minister Ali al-Zaidi abruptly called off his planned meeting with Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Ali al-Zaidi was originally scheduled to hold high-level talks with Saudi Arabia's Mohammed bin Salman in Jeddah on July 29th. The Iraqi Prime Minister also ordered an emergency meeting of the National Security Council shortly after snubbing MBS. The diplomatic fallout came after the United States and Saudi Arabia jointly carried out overnight strikes against Iran-backed Iraqi militias on July 28th. The coordinated U.S. Saudi operation specifically targeted members of Iraq's Popular Mobilization Forces during the overnight assault. Several PMF fighters were reportedly killed as the strikes hit multiple militia bases across different parts of Iraq. U.S. and Saudi fighter jets bombed several logistics hubs and weapons storage facilities across eastern Iraq during the coordinated operation. On July 28th, U.S CENTCOM officially confirmed that the precision strikes inside Iraq were conducted alongside Saudi Arabian forces. CENTCOM stated that the attacks specifically targeted Iran-aligned terrorists, operating from bases inside Iraqi territory. The United States further claimed the strikes were launched in direct response to Iran's recently foiled drone attacks. CENTCOM said, and I quote, U.S. Central Command and the Saudi Arabian Armed Forces conducted precision strikes in Iraq, July 28, against Iran-aligned terrorists that the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps IRGC directed to attack U.S. forces and Saudi energy infrastructure. U.S. and Saudi fighter aircraft struck multiple terrorist logistics and weapons sites across eastern Iraq in a strong response to over 30 IRGC-directed aerial drone attacks in the last 72 hours. The unwarranted attacks against U.S. forces were not successful. From February through April 2026, there were more than 600 attempted attacks on U.S. citizens and facilities by Iran-aligned terrorist militias in Iraq. The IRGC and its terrorist proxies must cease these attacks to avoid further U.S. military response. End quote. Meanwhile, Iran's foreign ministry strongly condemned the joint U.S. and Saudi military strikes carried out inside Iraq. Tehran described the coordinated attacks as a direct assault on Iraq's sovereignty and accused Washington of widening the regional conflict. Iran also alleged that American and Saudi forces struck religious sites used by Armenian pilgrims during the military operation. The latest strikes came shortly after Riyadh blamed Iraqi armed groups for recent attacks targeting the kingdom's strategic oil facilities. On July 27, Houthi rebels launched a fresh barrage of drones, escalating their aerial campaign against key targets inside Saudi Arabia. Riyadh claimed its air defense system successfully intercepted and destroyed the incoming Houthi drones before they could inflict any damage. Saudi Arabia further alleged the Houthi drones were aimed at the kingdom's critical oil infrastructure as well as the capital, Riyadh. Riyadh lashed out, accusing Iranian-backed terrorist militias operating from Iraq of joining the conflict alongside the Houthis. The statement by Saudi Arabia's Ministry of Defense said, and I quote, "The official spokesperson for the Ministry of Defense, Major General Turki al-Maliki, stated that air defenses intercepted and destroyed a number of drones during the past hours that attempted to target petroleum facilities in the eastern region and Riyadh." Major General al-Maliki clarified that these terrorist attempts were launched from Iraqi territory and carried out by Iranian-backed terrorist militias, affirming the kingdom's legitimate right to defend itself and its capabilities, and its retention of the right to respond at the appropriate time and place. End quote. Meanwhile, Houthi rebels continue focusing their campaign on Saudi Arabia's prized oil infrastructure, keeping the kingdom's energy lifeline under constant threat. On July 27, the Houthis claimed they struck oil facilities connecting eastern Saudi Arabia with the strategic Red Sea port city of Yanbu. Houthi spokesperson Yahya Saree alleged the operation was carried out in retaliation for repeated Saudi drone incursions into Yemeni airspace. Houthi spokesperson said, and I quote, "By the grace of God, a number of targets and sensitive points in the supply and transport of crude oil from eastern Saudi Arabia to Yanbu were struck using several drones, in response to the Saudi enemy's drones breaching Yemeni airspace." End quote. On July 26, the Houthis released dramatic footage claiming to show the wreckage of a Saudi Arabian drone they had successfully brought down. Houthis claimed they shot down a Saudi-operated Bayraktar Akinci combat drone, according to Iran state broadcaster IRIB. The group said the Turkish-made combat drone was flying an operational mission over northern Yemen at the time of the incident. The Yemen-based group claimed the unmanned aircraft was carrying out what it described as hostile military activities. According to the Houthis, the drone was brought down while operating over Yemen's Al-Jawf province. The group identified the aircraft as a Bayraktar Akinci, one of Turkey's most advanced long-endurance combat drones. Yemen's armed forces released footage that they said showed the drone bursting into flames before crashing to the ground. The claim came after Saudi airstrikes targeted Sana'a International Airport earlier this month amid renewed hostilities. Yemeni forces later responded by launching ballistic missile and drone strikes against Saudi Arabia's Obo International Airport.